Yveltal has finally gotten its signature attack in Pokemon Go, the Oblivion Wing. Will this new charge move open up some new doors for Yveltal in raids and PvP? Will it finally be a good flying type raid attacker? Will it finally be able to overcome the fairy types that plague it in the Master League? Well, I'm going to go over all that in this video. Now, if you're curious about Geomancy Xerneas, I already did that video. Link above and in the description if you want to learn about Geomancy Xerneas. When it comes to Oblivion Wing's potential in raids, checking out the DPS TDO spreadsheet here on GamePress, you can see that it's not exactly making the numbers compared to Rayquaza. Now, getting Dragon Ascent on Rayquaza does require a special item called like the Meteorite or something like that, so you might not exactly have an army of Dragon Ascent Rayquazas to whip out, and Yveltal could very easily be supplemental to that, flying type endeavor. Of course, we do have all the different shadow flying type Pokemon that also beat it out in the DPS department, many of them coming pretty close to it in the ER department as well. ER being a metric for a raid attacker's overall goodness, favoring the DPS, but also factoring in their bulkiness. So, all things considered, Oblivion Wing Yveltal, not bad. It's not the best thing ever, but definitely not bad. And if you 2-move it, you could flip-flop with using just the fast TMs for using it in both, dark type attacking raids and flying type attacking raids. So it has a little variety action there too. And Yveltal historically does have some good utility in the Master League meta. So if you're into all that and you're into spending like $50 on raids to get the XL candy, Yveltal isn't a bad option. Also, if you are curious how the level 50 Yveltal stacks up against a level 40 Rayquaza, because you're only going to XL so many Pokemon that are legendary Pokemon, hopefully. So overall, not the best investment ever, but certainly not a bad one. And Yveltal does have that coolness factor going on too, so make sure to consider that when considering this objective analysis there. The Bacon Bird is pretty badass. Changing gears to the PvP side of the force, we have the Ultra League meta because Yveltal can't fit into the Great League. And sorting by dark type Pokemon here, you can see that Yveltal is kind of far from our first choice of Pokemon, here ranking at 339. And when it comes to this Snarl, Dark Pulse, Flying type kind of moveset, I mean, we already got that in much better Pokemon like the Mandibuzz, the Galarian Moltres, and the Honchkrow, right? Now, we do have that interesting kind of utility where we could be carrying the Focus Blast, but I'd say in the current state of the Ultra League meta, with how slow it takes the Yveltal to get to the Focus Blast, it's just not really gonna come up. So if you got like a shiny Yveltal and it hits well for the Ultra League, but it doesn't hit for the Master League, and you just want to show it off, then by all means, there's probably worse Pokemon out there, but I mean, if it comes to the Dark Pulse Oblivion Wing moveset, there are most certainly better Pokemon out there. Moving on up to the Master League meta, things are a little bit more favorable for the Yveltal. You can see that it's here at rank 18, and Yveltal has had some usage in the Master League historically using the Dark Pulse and Focus Blast moveset. Now, problem with the Dark and Fighting type coverage is that we got the big bad fairy Pokemon. So way back when the only fairy you had to worry about was the Togekiss, it wasn't such a big deal, but then Zacian showed up and kind of changed everything and made life real hard for the Yveltal here. And now we got Big Xerneas. And if you want to know more about Big Xerneas, link in the description to my Xerneas analysis. Xerneas is also apparently pretty good in the Master League. So I'd say the environment overall is getting to be really difficult for Yveltal to keep up in. That said, the Oblivion Wing is a flying type attack, and it does hit those fairy type Pokemon for neutral, so you could sub out either the Focus Blast or the Dark Pulse to use that flying type coverage. But you are, having a trade-off there. If you don't have the Dark type coverage, then all the Psychic and Ghost type Pokemon that dominate the meta, such as Giratina, Lugia, Mewtwo, you're no longer hitting them as hard. And if you drop the Focus Blast, well then Steel type Pokemon can, have a better matchup against you there. So overall, it's just kind of dicey for the Yveltal. If I had to drop a move, I'd probably go with PvPoke's recommendation here because the Focus Blast is such a Hail Mary, so if you do farm up against an advantageous matchup and you take them out with the Dark Pulse, then the Fairy type comes in, obviously to wall you, well then you can go Hamtaro on them with the Oblivion Wing, where otherwise you'd just be kind of stuck with the Focus Blast. That said, you could have those decisive endgames where you farm up, you KO the thing with the Dark Pulse, and their final Pokemon's a Dialga, and you don't have a Focus Blast for it. So it is kind of awkward. I'd say if you are an Yveltal enjoyer, you've been braving the storm even in the Zacian meta here, then I'll leave it to you to decide how you want to deal with this. Overall, I'm no Master League expert. I don't participate in it because I think it's a pretty big time sink and money sink to try to keep up with when it comes to all the raids you have to do. So it's just not my cup of tea. I'm not knocking it. It's just not me, right? And Yveltal is looking like a pretty risky investment. But if you're an Yveltal enjoyer, I'm pretty sure you can find value out of its new tool here. So that's about all I got to say right now about Yveltal and Pokemon Go with the Oblivion Wing. If you got any questions on this content, of course, comment below. Let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. If you enjoyed this kind of content, you want to see more like it, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these patron supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. Yo, Ryan Swag, you don't know nothing about Yveltal. For example, how to say its name? It's Yveltal, not Yveltal. Second off, Zacian ain't nothing. Zacian ain't done nothing to my Yveltal. I hit Legend every single season. Zacian ain't nothing.